Believe what you see. You're watching. I messed up.
Blooper reel.
That's so funny. Believe what you see. You're watching me. And my guest over here, Jessie B.
Hey guys.
You might recognize Jessie B from our French fry tournament videos. Jessie B has, okay, edit. Jessie B is an aficionado of M&Ms, so I thought they would be an RL good guest to have upon the show and walk with me through this mess of M&Ms.
I can't wait.
Jessie B, do you have a particular fave that you think might beat the other guys tonight?
I've got to say, my favorite flavor since the first time I set my mouth upon it was crispy M&Ms. And I don't know if anyone out there, or if you remember whenever they weren't available in the US, but I was talking to friends who lived across seas in the UK and in Asia, trying to get my hands on some crispy M&Ms before they were reintroduced. I was very, very excited whenever they finally came back. How about you?
I think that peanut is kind of my fave. You know, I think it's most people's favorite. But, I don't know, peanut butter. And I have to say, I am looking forward to the Pretzel M&Ms, which I haven't had for a while. So, with that said, I'm gonna go ahead and let Jessie B do the honors of picking the first bag that we check out.
Ooh. Why don't we start with the classic, the original, plain.
Who hasn't had regular M&Ms? Regular M&Ms, you seen them, you know them.
I've got to say, they always say melts in your mouth, not in your hands. But if you just hold them in your hands for a few seconds, I don't know about you, but they start getting melted.
It's true.
So, I don't know, guys.
I like them. I feel like regular M&Ms are famous because their small disc-like shape makes them kind of a pledge to just gather up in your hand and throw in your mouth and crunch on them all at the same time. It's a satisfying experience, texture-wise, as well as the sweetness of the chocolate wise. Let's do something crazy.
Yeah? Oh, caramel.
I think this is, I almost said caramel.
I mean, people say it different ways. I kind of like caramel. I like the way it sounds. Caramel, people say, also, right?
Caramel people?
Yeah.
I never had caramel before. I'm wondering how stringy the caramel is gonna be, or if it's gonna be kind of hard. Let's find out.
I haven't tried these either, so. Oh, these are hefty.
These guys are a little bigger, and they look like they're about the same size as peanut. The caramel is somewhere in between super soft and hard.
So, would you consider these to be the consistency of maybe Rolos? Or maybe, I don't know, what are they, sugar babies? Something along those lines.
Sugar daddies, aren't they?
No, sugar daddies are the big ones, and the sugar babies are the little. I'm thinking of milk duds. We're both wrong. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think they're Rolo. Total Rolo.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
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 Unlike with the staples, like your plain or peanut, I cannot see myself eating an entire bag of them. So there's that. They're pretty rich.
I feel like the caramel doesn't have as much flavor as I want it to. It's almost like it's more about the texture and less about the flavor versus, you know, I think a Rolo. I don't know. I feel like it is kind of Rolo because Rolos aren't really super flavorful like a caramello.
Yeah, they're very sugary. That's pretty much the flavor.
Yeah.
I think if there were a hint of sea salt, I might appreciate them.
Yeah. A little bit of sea salt would really spice up those caramel M&Ms. But as is, I don't know.
I think, do you want to go for the fudge brownie? I haven't tried these. I know you just did the review, but I haven't done my take, so.
I feel kind of sick from those caramel ones. These guys are even bigger. They're huge.
I really feel like there are these tiny little brownies baked inside of each one. Oh, do you want me to say more?
Yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, did magical elves just bake tiny brownies to put in each one? Or, like, do you know?
Keep going. This is gold.
All I know is I'll be buying more of these. Like,
You like them that much, really?
Yeah.
I felt like they're a little heavy on the sweet side, even though the brownie texture is fun after you have a bunch. I don't know, they're good. They're really good.
I did not expect a lot from them, I guess. So I'm pleasantly surprised. They really are. It truly is like a little grandma M&M. If you'll note the package, baked these herself. I mean, it's like it's very sweet.
M&M's brownies are full of sweet surprise. I'm gonna pick these dark chocolate next, and I've never had them before, but I have a feeling they're gonna be somewhat similar to the fudge brownie flavor.
I will say that I have tried these, and as a fan of dark chocolate, you either go 70% or go home, basically.
What are these?
50%? Maybe they've improved the formula, though. I don't know. I'm willing to try them again. It's been a while.
These things are the exact same size as Rig M&Ms. They may only be 50% cacao, but to me, they're 100%. Period.
Yeah, they're better than I remember, but they're my favorite. They're just like, if I'm craving dark chocolate, then I want dark chocolate. if I'm craving M&Ms, I want milk chocolate. That's all. I could see there's a market for them. Obviously, they've been around for a while, but it's not my thing.
Have they been around for a while?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember seeing them.
They had a whole like Star Wars campaign related to the dark side.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Clever.
It's so peanut. If I'm not wrong, I believe that peanut M&Ms were released at the same time as plain M&Ms. They were released in 2 varieties.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's interesting. Because I would have thought that they came out after.
You would think so.
I like the sounds that they make.
I know. I used to play a game with my grandma that it's very it's very dorky, but some people may actually be familiar. You crush 2 of them together, and then the one that gets crushed is the one you eat because it's the loser.
Oh, shit.
It's wrestling. It's like a little game you might play like for snack time or lunchtime if you happen to have these.
Have you guys ever played M&M's wrestling before? Let me know in the comments. I feel like you're familiar with the size. You got a big one there.
I know. That's interesting. I think it might be 2 in 1.
Really?
Yeah. I will say, if I'm given the choice between plain and peanut, those are the only M&Ms you're offering me, I'm probably gonna go with peanut every time. It's just like, it's good. Solid. Got a little, it's packing some protein in it, those peanuts.
It is. Was it 2? You should have been into it.
I know, missed opportunity. Mm-hmm. There was like 1.5 peanuts.
Well,
It's very interesting.
yeah, I agree. I would choose peanut any day over reg. Let's do peanut butter.
Ooh. Here's another really rich one that I absolutely love.
These guys are interesting. They're somewhere between peanut and regular, with the disc-like shape of regular. I thought that they would have been stuffed and big like peanut. It's kind of the same peanut butter that they use in Reese's peanut butter cups. It's kind of powdery and breakable. But it's not tough. It's just not creamy. Am I wrong, or were these ones creamier?
Yes, they were. I was actually going to compare them to they were stuffed more, like you were saying. They used to be stuffed more. The peanut butter used to be markedly better than Reese's Pieces, but now, yeah, they're virtually the same. The flavor, I used to, as a kid, and okay, still as an adult sometimes, get a spoonful of peanut butter and put plain M&Ms in it and eat that as a snack. The peanut butter M&Ms were a very good comparison to that. I think I'd prefer that spoon of peanut butter now, but I don't know about you.
I like them a lot. I mean, I like Reese's Pieces a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'd even say these are better than Reese's Pieces.
I think they still are because they have more of the chocolate flavor that I like. But they're just not as... They used to be so rich with peanut butter that I would combine them with plain M&Ms so I didn't get overwhelmed with the peanut butter flavor. So, I mean, maybe it's almost an improvement that they're not quite so overwhelming. I don't know.
I feel like the peanut butter cream used to be as creamy as the peanut butter M&Ms hair. Really?
Yeah, no, I know what you're
Used to be
saying.
that creamy.
Yeah, it's very creamy.
It's still delicious though, and it might be my favorite of the night.
I'm gonna go with pretzel. Oops,
Oh.
that's caramel. So sorry. Yeah, there's pretzel. It's the same. It's very similar color, so I got thrown off.
Oh wow.
Round.
Yeah, right. They're like little gum balls. They're super round. Ain't it interesting? Sound like a bag of marbles.
I will say, first of all, they're a lot harder than I remember them being.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Maybe it's just this batch. They almost taste a little burnt too. Ow.
I too remember these being different back in the day, whenever the day was. I remember the pretzel being a little bigger. They weren't as round. And the pretzel was softer. And maybe even saltier too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd almost say that the pretzel matter in this almost feels just like malted milk. Really dense, and it just kind of shatters when you bite into it, into dust, instead of having that kind of pleasant pretzel feel. Maybe I'm just misremembering it though. This is up for discussion in the comments. I really wish they were saltier, at least.
I remember these rivaling the Crispies for me, and they're just not doing it for me this time. I mean, first of all, they're genuinely hurting my teeth when I try to bite into them. And they're just, I don't know, there's kind of a burnt, bitter aftertaste.
I do kind of like the explosion that occurs when you bite into each one, and they like explode. It's a burst. But other than that, the flavor is just not there. Let's try these Crispies.
Oh, excited.
Watch these be horrible too. I hate when you don't cut off enough.
Mm-hmm. I always pull from the bottom.
Oh, right. Oh, they're little. They look like nerds. These are little guys. They're like regular M&Ms, but their shape is inconsistent. And that's it. Mm.
Oh, yeah.
The crispy matter is just right. It's soft yet firm, and causes minor explosions in your mouth. But it's not overwhelming like the pretzel ones. And the small shape of them makes them kind of a delight, similar to the regular M&Ms, where you want to have a ton of them in your mouth, all popping and bursting each bite.
They are just as good as the first time I had them. They used to be, I swear they used to be more uniform in shape, but that doesn't affect the flavor at all. They still taste like these delightful chocolate and candy coated little Rice Krispies treats, and they're just, they're tops in my book. I love them so much.
These might be the best.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I used to eat like a bag of these in a couple of days whenever I was a teenager. So I'm just so glad they're back in the U.S. Hopefully here to stay.
Crispy M&Ms, back in the U.S. Hopefully here to stay. And always with us in our teenage dreams.
I'm picking minis, which, honestly, I don't know if I said another one was my second favorite, but I'm wrong, and minis are my second favorite if I did say anything else. So. I like miniature versions of anything, first of all, so you got me sold there.
These little guys are teeny tiny, little itty bitty representations of M&Ms. They're like half the size. Maybe, yeah, about half the size of regular ones.
This is another thing I used to do as a teenager. Whenever they first started selling these in those tubes, which I still think you can get now. I would start off buying one of those, and then I would buy one of the bags bigger than this to refill it, and I would take it with me everywhere in my bag, like my backpack or my purse or whatever, so that I could always have them, and just tilt the tube back into my mouth and just spill them down my throat. It's delicious. I personally like how soft they get and how quickly that little shell just dissolves delicately in your mouth.
Right.
It's wonderful.
It's almost like I think they did make the shell a tiny bit thinner than a usual shell. So when you got a bunch of them in your mouth and you're biting into them, those little teeny shells break off really quick, and your mouth is full of chocolate, pretty much. It's a fun experience, and I remember not really digging them, years ago. But I like them okay.
Yeah.
They're teeny.
I know. I mean, how can you not like something that small? Like.
So teeny.
I know. So teeny.
Itty bitty. That leaves us with almond M&Ms, which are kind of a boner because Jessie B can't eat almond products.
I'm allergic, so
it's kind of out of obligation that I'm gonna eat one if I can open them.
I mean, they're delicious. Jessie B Easter eggs. These are my mom's favorites.
An Easter egg, Jessie B Easter egg. Nice. Oh, they're big. Look at these big old things. Bigger than peanut. Bigger than any other M&M. The almond M&Ms are large and in charge. Their sound clacking together reminds me of those little balls that you do that thing with. There we go. I guess you can eat your fave.
Okay.
Or whatever you want.
These were my favorites at one point, and then I found out I was allergic. It is quite sad, but I think what I'm gonna do is try a little mashup, a little recipe. What was I thinking of combining? I think I was thinking
Peanut butter?
caramel and I was gonna do pretzel, but those were too hard. I just don't want to put myself through that again. So yeah, I'm gonna try caramel and peanut butter and see how that tastes together.
I'm sick of M&Ms.
That actually adds the right amount of salt. for the mix, having the peanut butter mixed in with the caramel.
Mmm.
Which I'm sure the peanut would do something similar. So pro tip, if you're looking to play around with M&Ms.
Peanut and caramel or peanut butter and caramel?
Peanut butter, I bet the peanut tastes good too. Actually, check that. And that one.
I don't like the caramel.
Yeah, I honestly think I'm just trying to cover the flavor, maybe, but I kind of like it with the peanut. I don't know.
I just wish it was caramello style. That's
Yeah.
super soft, wet caramel.
Maybe it wouldn't have worked as well inside of the candy shell. Like it wouldn't have been as stable. I don't know.
Well, it would work for me. The almond's good. The almonds are large and in charge, and they break in your mouth, as you'd expect, because they're complete big ol' almonds. It's not my fave, though. I thought it might be, but my fave is I'm gonna stick with peanut, peanut butter. It's a three-way tie between peanut, peanut butter, and crispy. What do you think, Jessie B? What's your three-way, or two-way, or one-way tie?
I'm gonna say, I'll say crispy mini and peanut are pretty neck and neck for me, at least tonight. Peanut really is an old standby. When I would work in an office and I forgot to bring a snack with me or something, this was always a go-to in the vending machine. Just give me a little boost of energy.
And it gives the illusion that you're eating something healthy.
Yeah, because you've got those peanuts in them.
And they're packed with omega fatty acids.
I believe so, and protein. 3 whole grams of protein in a third of a pack. That's actually not bad. So.
Not bad.
And clearly I would eat an entire one because, who eats a third of a pack of M&Ms, honestly? I don't think so.
Someone trying to kid themselves. What would your fantasy M&M creation be? If I could have any M&Ms, I would choose Oreo M&Ms and little honeycomb M&Ms. That when you bite into it, it's kind of a sweet, crispy honeycomb. What about you, Jessie B?
That sounds pretty delicious. I think I would have to pick strawberry, like either freeze-dried strawberry or just some kind of genuine strawberry flavor. Just bite in with that burst of strawberry deliciousness. Or, let me see. Well, I know they have hazelnut. That's my favorite. Maybe macadamia nut?
Well, guys, you heard it here about M&Ms. And if you dug this little M&M review / comparison, be sure to click that like button before you go. And be my sub. Click that subscribe button if you haven't already. As always, it's been a pleasure. And once again, I'd like to thank my guest, Jessie B, for enlightening us. As always, it's been a pleasure. And I can't wait to see you again, or else soon, for another fun food review. Thanks for watching. Bye! This fucking screen is cracked as shit. Believe what you see. M&M's, baby. That's what we're talking about. That's what we got. That's what we're gonna do.
I'm pretty excited about eating these. I'm Jessie B, by the way.
Can't even see this piece of shit. Choose peanut any day over reg, but original or I guess regular peanut or
Like Star Wars campaign related to the dark side.
oh wow.
Yeah.
Clever.
Yeah, I'm not into Star Wars either, Sorry, everyone.
Clarify that.
but I remember
My
the
fans
campaign.
know.
All of them.
All 8 of them. How are we gonna do this? Should we like put them in a bowl?
I think that's a good idea. Yeah. Just tear right in.
Yeah, we could just like eat from the bags maybe. Like just open the bags and then.
Yeah. We can eat like civilized humans, I think.